You know, we all use a kind of secret code in our conversations, pretty much every single day, and we don't even realize it. It's made of these tiny little words and phrases that don't really add new information, but they completely change how we understand what's being said. So today, let's crack that code.
I mean, think about it. When someone says, you know, are they actually checking if you have that piece of information? Or when they start a sentence with, well, what is that actually signaling to you? These aren't just, verbal habits or little tics. They are part of a really powerful system.
It's easy to think of these phrases as just filler, verbal clutter that we should probably try to get rid of to sound smarter. But that's not it at all. They're actually incredibly powerful signposts. They're telling your listener exactly how they should interpret what you're about to say.
So, what are these little conversational guides actually called? Well, they have a name: Pragmatic Markers. Let's dive in and get a really clear definition of what they are.
Okay, so a pragmatic marker is basically an optional word that's kind of loosely attached to whatever you're saying. Its main job isn't to give you facts, it's to signal the speaker's attitude and to guide how the listener hears it. You can almost think of them as the traffic police of a conversation, right? They direct the flow, they manage the tone, and they tell everyone where the conversation is headed next.
All right, so let's break down 4 of the most common markers that we use all the time, every day, and let's decode what they're really doing when we talk.
First up is you know. When we use this, what we're really doing is creating this little bubble of common ground. It's our way of saying, hey, I'm assuming we're on the same page about this, or you get what I'm talking about, right? It's all about building a connection and making the whole conversation feel a bit more collaborative.
Now, well is a classic. It's the sound of a speaker shifting gears. They might be going from just stating some information to suddenly adding their own personal comment. Or maybe they're creating a little bit of distance before they answer a tough question. Basically, it signals, hold on, a change is coming.
And, that's basically our brain's live editing tool. It's the verbal equivalent of hitting the backspace key and just retyping something real quick. We use it to say, hang on, let me rephrase that, or here's what I really wanted to say. It's all about making our own speech more precise as we go. And then there's, I don't know. And this one's interesting because, yeah, sometimes it literally means you don't have the information. But so often, it's used in a completely different way. It's evolved to become this marker of hesitation, a way to soften a statement, especially if you think the person you're talking to might not agree with you. Okay, so theory is great and all, but let's actually see how these markers work together in a real sentence. We're going to build it up piece by piece so you can see how each marker is subtly guiding the listener's mind.
So here's our core piece of information. It's just a simple, neutral fact. They were reading a book by a certain author. Pretty straightforward, right? And now the speaker adds, you know. Just with those 2 words, the whole dynamic has changed. They're now treating the poet's fame as something that's shared knowledge. They're pulling the listener in and basically saying, hey, we both know who this guy is.
And here it is, that pivot. The word well signals a shift is happening. The speaker is moving away from just stating facts, and now they're about to offer a personal comment or some kind of qualification. You can almost feel the conversation taking a turn.
So right after that pivot, the speaker uses I mean to immediately clarify what they just implied. They're self-correcting the idea that his fame is, universal. So the key point here is that these markers didn't add any new facts. What they did was manage the listener's interpretation of those facts.
But maybe the most fascinating evolution of all is how a phrase can completely transform into this sophisticated social tool. So let's look at the twist in I don't know, and how it often means the exact opposite of what the words are literally saying. So over on the left, you've got the original meaning. Someone asks, what's a lychee? The answer, I don't know. Simple, direct, it's just a statement of fact, or a lack of one. But then look at the right. Jen absolutely does know what she thinks. She is using, oh, I don't know, as a soft entry into a direct disagreement. It's her way of signaling, I'm about to challenge what you just said, but I want to do it politely.
And that's the big takeaway here. These markers are absolutely essential for social harmony. They let us disagree with someone without being, disagreeable. Saying, oh, I don't know, before you state your opinion is so much softer than just flat out saying you're wrong. It's a strategic move to keep the conversation positive while still expressing your own point of view.
Once you start noticing these markers, you really can't stop. They are everywhere, constantly shaping our interactions in these subtle but really powerful ways. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secret codes are hiding in plain sight in the conversations you have every single day?